Okay, hello guys. Today our topic is about algebraic fractions and indices, okay? So maybe our first part is about algebraic fractions, okay? So let's move to the first part. So first of all, what is meaning of an algebraic fraction? Okay, here are some examples like you can find here. There are some fraction numbers like x over 5, right? Okay, so you can find here the on the upper of the fraction number, it is x, right? So we use x to divide it by 5. So it is now a fraction number, right? So this we can also say it's an algebraic fractions because this is doesn't only as a constant number divided by a constant number. It's just like a algebraic form or like an algebraic equation to divide it by another algebraic equation or divide by a constant number. Okay. So you can find here just a combination, and at least we have to make one becomes an algebraic formula. Okay, so here's x over 5. Also for 3 over y. If we have like the same variables, like is they're both x, and we can also add two equations on the top of it and on the lower of it. Okay, so it's x plus 2 over x minus 3. Okay. So the last equation here is x squared minus 4 over x squared plus 5x plus 6, right? Okay, so, and we have to know that for a fraction number, we knew that maybe for here, that 5 over x minus 3, because the denominator, if it is 0, the fraction must be undefined, right? So here we have to let x minus 3 equals to 0. Oh, sorry, doesn't equal to 0, right? If it equals to 0, the fraction number cannot be defined, right? So here x cannot equal to 3. So sometimes when you're solving some equations, please remember every time that maybe we have to make sure that the denominator cannot be equals to 0, okay? That's very important. And also there's a step of simplifying algebraic fractions, but here you can find there's a step-by-step method first to factorize the numerator completely. Okay, maybe you can use in the method we learned on the last lessons. We can make it to become factors. We can make it to make him into factors and then to delete some same factors of the denominator and on the upper of the fraction number, right? Okay. So cancel the common factors, you can make it to become simplified. Okay. So for example, like here, we have an example for simplify fully the equation. Like here is x squared plus 5x plus 6 over x squared minus 9, right? So you can find on the upper of the fraction number is x squared plus 5x plus 6, right? So you can find here, maybe now we can find the factors of 6, right? So 6 equals to 1 times 6, and also you can say 6 equals to 2 times 3, right? So here we can write that as x plus 2 times x plus 3, right? This is a way of factorizing, okay? So now you can say, oh, here's x plus 2 times x plus 3, because 2x plus 3x, so total value here equals to 5x, right? Okay. And for the denominator, okay, so you can find denominator, here's x squared minus 9. So in the last lesson, we learned that the form is a squared minus b squared, right? We can write it down as a plus b times a minus b, right? Okay, so here x squared minus 9. X squared can be divided into x and x, and maybe for a square can be divided as negative 3 and 3, okay? So here we can write that as x plus 3 times x minus 3, okay? So we can just factorize it, okay? And then you can rewrite the total equations, right? So you can find the numerator is x plus 2 times x plus 3. And the denominator can be written as x minus 3 times x plus 3, right? So you can find they have the same factor of x plus 3. So now you can just cancel them together. And there's only x plus 2 over x minus 3 left. So we can set this equation or this fraction number as the simplified form, okay? Okay. So every time to please remember that for some equations, we can just to find the same factors and then to delete or cancel them together. And here, if you have to multiply some algebraic fractions, okay, also not very difficult. You can find here is a over b times c over d, right? So you can let the numerator a, c times together, it is a times c, okay? And also for here, b times d, d denominator times the d denominator, it becomes b times d, okay? So then you can just to simplify it and to use the strategies, okay? So here also example for here, 3x over 4 times 8 over x squared, okay? So maybe right here you can just cancel the same factors together. Like here you can find on the denominator we have a 4. So on the numerator you can find there's 8, right? So you can first divide it or cancel the 4 together, so it's 2. And you can find that there is a factor of x on the numerator and denominator, right? So you can cancel x together. So there is for 3 times 2 over 1 times x, right? So final answer is 6 over x. So that is factorizing, and also you can set the simplified form of the algebraic fractions. Okay. Okay, also here are some dividing algebraic fractions. Okay, so we knew that maybe for 1 over 2 divided by 1 over 3, because that it equals to 1 over 2 times 3 over 1, right? So we're just flip it and make it to become a reverse, right? So also for here, like here, for example, x squared minus 16 over 2x divided by x minus 4 over 6x squared. So now you can first to keep the first term and then to flip the second fraction number, right? So it becomes 6x squared. Denominator becomes a new numerator, right? And the numerator before becomes a latest denominator, right? So here we're in that this way. And then you can make it to become factorized, right? X squared minus 16 can be written as x minus 4 times x plus 4. Okay. So here, 6x squared is 6x squared, x minus 4, 2x can be written as 2x. Okay. So it's like this form. So now you can make it to become factorizing. Okay, you can find here is the same x minus 4, you can first delete it. And x plus 4 over 2x times 6x squared, you can find to have the same like part, that is 2x. So you can write that 3x, right? So final answer is 3x times x plus 4. Okay. That's for it. Okay, so can you understand for here how to write down the algebraic fractions? Okay, it's very important for you to understand and how to master it. Okay. Okay, and also for adding and subtracting. Okay, also some examples like here. For example, to adding the two fraction number together, one is 2x over 3, another is x over 4. First, you can find they have the same or the lowest common multiple for 3 and 4. You know that is 12, right? Because 3 times 4 is 12. And then you can just written them as two new forms as they have the same like denominator. Okay, so 3's denominator changes into 4. So it has to times 4, both the numerator and denominator. Okay, so here is 2x times 4 over 3 times 4. And for x over 4, you can both times 3 and it becomes 3x over 12. Okay, so final answer here becomes 8x over 12 plus 3x over 12. So it equals to 11x over 12. Okay. So we can just write it as a very single denominator, right? Okay. So also for subtracting, okay, you can here x plus 1 minus x minus 2, or like 2 over x minus 2. So therefore there, it's not a number anymore, but it's an algebraic equation, right? So you can first also the same, like a similar method, you can first try to find the common or the lowest common multiples for x plus 1 and x minus 2, right? So the common denominator is x plus 1 times x minus 2. And then you can adjust the numerators because you have to enlarge the denominator, right? So now you can find x minus 2 are enlarged or put on the two fraction numbers. So it becomes 3 times x minus 2 over x plus 1 over here, maybe times x plus minus 2, right? And then we are divided by 2 times x plus 1 over x plus 1 times x minus 2, okay? Well, then you can combine it to one fraction numbers, right? So it becomes as x plus 1 times x minus 2. And here, the numerator is 3 times x plus minus 1. Oh, sorry, 3 times x plus minus 2 minus 2x plus 1, right? So then expand and simplify the numerator, we can find the final answer is x minus 8. And the like denominator is x plus 1 times x minus 2, okay? So that is a method or the strategy for adding and subtracting, okay? Also, here are some deliberate practice for you. So if you want to follow with me to solve the problems, you can just keep on watching. But if you want to try on yourself, you can first pause the video and then try to do yourself, okay? So maybe let's move into the first part, like here, x squared plus 7x plus 10 divided by x squared plus 2x, right? So first of all, you can try to find maybe they have the same factors, okay? X squared plus 2x. You can extract a x, right? So we can just make it to become easy form like x times x plus 2, right? And here we can find is x squared plus 7x plus 10, right? We can extract the same factors. Maybe for here, we can find 10 can be divided into 2 and 5, right? So maybe you can write down as x plus 2 times x plus 5. But then you can cancel x plus 2, the common factors together, and it can become x plus 5 over x, right? That is the first equation. And the second equation here, you can find 4a squared over divided by 5b. and then times 15b cubed over 8a, right? So now you can set maybe here 4a squared over 5b times 15b cubed over 8a, right? You can delete a at the same time. So now also delete 4 at the same time. That is 2. Here's 3. So b can also be deleted by the b cubed, right? So it's b squared. So it's now you can read it as b 3b squared over 2, right? Okay, very easy and very simplified form. Okay. So the third problem you can find is to like simplify this very complicated equation, but the method or the thinking is the same, right? First of all, x squared minus 25 can be written as x plus 5 times x minus 5, right? Because it's like a form of a squared minus b squared, okay? You can write that this way, x plus 5 times x minus 5, okay? And then you can find maybe here, this is 3x, right? Over 3x. And then the second equation or the second fraction number can be written as, because it's divided by x plus 5 over 9x squared. So you can just flip it, right? So it becomes 9x squared over x plus 5, right? So you can find on the denominator and numerator, they have the same factors, x plus 5, right? So you can cancel them together. And also for here, it's 3x, and you can cancel them together. There's 3x and 3x you can be deleted at the same time, okay? That is 3x. So for here, we have 3x, and here is x minus 5. So you can type them together, 3x times x minus 5, okay? So that is for the third part, okay? Okay, so on the fourth part is 4 over x plus 5 over 2x, right? So first of all, you can try to make it to become a simplified form. That is x, or 4 over x can be written as 2x, and here's a, right? Plus 5 over 2x, right? This is the simplified form. And then you can add them together. It's 2x, and 8 plus 5 is 13, right? So the first part is 13 over 2x, okay. And for the fifth question, you can find here, x plus 3, and here is minus x1 or x minus 1. You can first find the lowest common multiples, right? So it's x plus 3 times x minus 1, right? So here, sorry for that. Okay, so it's x plus 3 times x minus 1. And then the first equation or the first fraction number becomes 5 times x minus 1, right? And then minus, here is x plus 3 times x minus 1, okay? That's for this equation. And then you can try to make them like cancel with each other. That is 5x minus 5 minus x minus 3, okay? That is it. And you can find on the denominator is x plus 3 times x minus 1, right? So on the numerator is 4x minus 8, right? Okay, that is 4x minus 8. Also, you can make it to become simplified as 4 times x minus 2 over x plus 3 times x minus 1. That's our final answer, okay? So that's all of today's lesson. I hope you can truly understand for how to calculate an algebraic fractions. Okay, sometimes it will be harder for you to see in the past papers. Okay, so after class, I also hope you can just making some deliberate practice for these topical papers. Okay, if you have any questions, please add my contact numbers. Okay, I can help you to search for some past papers and help you to do some deliberate practice. Okay, so that's today's lesson. So see you next week. Bye.